All right, everybody. So I got almost everybody's exam graded. I got five more to go. It was an arduous task, but so I'll get them done before midnight tonight. So everybody will have them by today. Um, I usually get them done before class, so nobody's wondering how they did. The good news is, what is the good news with these exams? Yeah, if you got something to correct, you correct it and resubmit it. So everybody gets an A. That's the goal. All right. So the vast majority have something to correct, uh, but it's no big deal, like I said. So let's just do updates. We'll talk about the exam first because I've had a chance to read all but five. And I'll read them after class. So everybody will have their grade before the end of the night. But so what I did is what I do with everything, whether it's a discussion board or a paper or an exam, whatever equals an A. So in this case, if you got an 18, 19, or 20, that's an A. Okay, so um, if you got something equivalent to an A, I just gave you the grade. You don't have to resubmit it. I still told you what you could correct if you wanted a perfect paper, but you don't need it. You got an A. Um, if you had more to fix, so if you wouldn't have gotten an 18, I didn't give you any grade, but I gave you like a paragraph of feedback. So read the feedback and resubmit it, and then you'll get an A. So that's the goal. Um, so let's just talk briefly about the main things that I've seen. I'm not going to mention anybody in particular, but in general, it's always the same. It's everybody kind of deals with the same thing. So the first thing is, and even though I mentioned this, I know some people, did not have this problem. So, let's not generalize too much. I'm just kind of sharing the main things that I see. So all right. So basically, the first thing I noticed is that if people had problems, they probably didn't follow that uh, recorded lecture called Theory Exam Instructions. And that's in class 7. So I basically gave you an outline of the answers, what I wanted, what I didn't want in that video. So a lot of times I'll just write, for instance, I mentioned don't include the father or the past in the session. And I gave you some alternatives. So if you did a role play, you're not doing a role play with the dad. That's past history. You're going to do a role play with two parts of Sam's personality. Um, I mentioned make sure you include the layers of the personality in the Gestalt answer. Um, in Glasser, a lot of people included WDEP and nothing else. So there's a lot more to reality therapy and choice theory than just WDEP. In the intros, a lot of people's three case histories sounded exactly alike. Um, we have to differentiate the case histories using terminology from each theory. So they should all be different. How would Glasser describe the case history? How would Pearls describe the case history and all of the unfinished business? How would Rogers describe the case history? I listed techniques for Rogers in exam instruction. So reflection, paraphrase, summarization, and pointing out incongruencies. All right, so, and then you now have the benefit of an exam sample that you can read, see what some other students wrote, and I also provided an extensive 2-page outline after my 1 paragraph of feedback for your exam. So that outline gives you basically everything you need by question and by section, what you should include. So even if you have to resubmit something, you have the answers to do it. Okay, so it shouldn't be that hard or that big of a deal. All right, so that's the exam. I know it's a lot of work. I know it's even more work if you have to resubmit it, but you know, mastery learning and you get an A. So there you go. All right. Questions about the exam. I know 5 of you didn't get feedback yet. I'll give it to you. But other questions, maybe about the theories or, you know, anything, because today we're going to move on to the next section of theory. So I kind of want to deal with the exam and all the previous theories, see if there's any questions, and then we'll move on to the next one. All right. So let's also, while we're doing updates, let's just look at the course outline and the syllabus and see where we are. Because aren't we already on like week 10 or something like that? 9, 10. Let's see. Yep, we're on week 9. Okay. So last week, week 8, we went over behavioral therapy, and there were like 5 different theorists. And I tried to point out that we're not going to have any of those theorists on our exam. But I tried to point out the questions that would be on the comps and the NCE from behavioral theory. So tonight we're going to go over CBT and REBT. Let's see. These are shorter theories. So I'm also going to kind of share an activity I do with groups at the hospital where I work, how to use kind of REBT with therapeutic groups as well. So let's see. So as for the next exam, you know, by the end of the night, everybody will have feedback for the previous exam. You'll have the outline. You have a sample exam. So you should kind of know what's expected for the next exam. And we only have 3 more theories until the next exam. So you know what's on the next exam. So REBT, we're going to go over that tonight. That's going to be on the next exam. Feminist therapy, that's going to be on the next exam. And family systems theory. So those 3 theories are going to be on the next exam. So if you wanted to, if you didn't want to wait till the last minute, you could work on like one a week, and you'd pretty much have the exam done because the case is exactly the same. There's no difference. I won't add anything to that case. So you know the questions, what would Albert Ellis, how would he apply REBT to the case of Sam? What would a session look like? What would, a treatment plan look like? So that's pretty much it. You already know the questions, and you can work on that if you feel like it. Especially if like things are coming due at the end of the semester, if you got a lot of assignments due or projects and things like that, you can start working on that. Now, just a timeline. If you have to resubmit your exam, get it in before 2 weeks from now. You've got 2 more classes to return that exam, 2 weeks. And then, because I don't want it to go into the next exam. That would be overwhelming. That would be too much to think about. So, you'll have 2 weeks to just resubmit, but you've got the answers, so shouldn't be that hard. All right. Should really only just take an hour or two. All right. Any questions about our timeline or the syllabus or anything like that? Okay.